Drink and Snuts and Wealthy Man both in a lot of trouble here. Mana completely tapped for Cubsy despite his drinks earlier. He actually gets counterspell. Drake rolls in with the counterspell. They're on match point. They look to close against Cloud9. Suralium Soul Shapes in for a Dragon's Breath. There's the Paralyze. They're going to connect. Drake gets stunned off, but he's dispelled. Meteor is about to come down. Big hit actually onto Drake. It's Wealthy Man's Meteor. They're turning it around. Drake.
Time to spend in the arena.
Out of all the videos I've made, I can bet you that this one will really be the video that nearly all WoW players can relate to. And I really, and I mean really, need your help on this one. So please stay till the end and I'll explain how you can help. But just like you, I spend hours every night running in circles watching Twitch streams. I'll pull up a Venruki stream, watch him try out Frostmage even though I know it sucks, get excited, and then alt-tab back into World of Warcraft, only to realize I can't do the same. And no, I don't mean play Frostmage. What I mean is just, well, play Arena, or really any form of competitive PvP for that matter. The same can be said about Mythic Plus. I'll check my buddies list, see that no one is online to play, scrim through the LFG section, don't see anyone that matches, I then go back to Twitch, and the cycle continues, realizing that I want to play the game, but I honestly can't. Despite popular belief, I don't have a team or partners. In fact, my buddies list really isn't that impressive. I have a couple people on there, but not enough to really have consistent queues. And trust me, I've tried. I may play 3v3 Arena on my main character like once per week. Now as I'm saying this, I realize a lot of other players have it even worse. And what I mean by that is, I have all of the achievements. I have the experience that I can link when people ask, I always play meta classes, and I have the ability to reroll because of my stream. And the reason I do reroll frequently is because I just can't stand waiting around because my class isn't desirable with the current LFG system. But let's for a moment think about the person that has none of these. They have no achievements, they spend all the time they have after work grinding out a class that just sucks, and even if they want to reroll, it's going to take them forever to catch up, even with the catch-up systems currently in place. I hear a lot of rank 1 players tell the community, you just have to grind it, bro. I had to do that years ago back in MOP, but that was nearly 8 years ago. The game was much different back then. LFG was recently introduced after they rid the game of arena teams, and players are just much better nowadays. Some players have achievements from years ago that honestly don't mean much in today's standards, but it is something they hold on to, and they expect to play with players of that same caliber despite the fact that they have no relevant experience currently. And although all the information is out there, you have Twitch streams, you have YouTube guides, you have experts at every class willing to answer your questions, that does not remove the main barrier to entry. And that is simply finding a consistent group of people willing to play and learn. In almost every other game, you have all the information available, but you also have the ability to practice every day. You can play till 2 AM till your eyes look like SpongeBob from the I Need It episode. There is nothing stopping you from practicing. But in WoW, not only do you have to work to learn the game, you also have to work to actually play the game. This exists for both Mythic Plus and PvP. I would argue that the best WoW Arena player, some Zoomer who has all the potential, may simply never get the chance to play.
You know what the solution is, right? To fix solo queue. Solo queue.
Solo queuing threes?
Solo queuing, just solo queue in general, 2s and 3s. Like, you know, the best player in WoW is not one of the guys who's top rated. It's just some guy playing, but he can't get any teams because he doesn't have any experience and no one will play with him because it's like this high echelon of like high-tech PvP players.
Anyone on our chats right now is like the next like fat, like good player, and they just don't have the opportunity to be it because they can't play with anyone.
The best player in the game right now is some random, like 100%.
Now you would think Blizzard would do everything in their power to make this group finder tool as effective as possible. It is essentially the player base's vehicle to the end game content. You know, the juicy stuff. The reason you purchased the game in the first place. Well, in this case, you would be wrong. And if you're a longtime WoW player, you know exactly what I'm talking about. The LFG tool is severely outdated. It has so many issues. Now before we get into how to solve the LFG system, let's talk about a special game mode that many of you know my friend Savix and I have been talking about for several years now. Ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce you to the concept of solo queue. Wait, what am I saying? You should already know what solo queue is. And that is because literally every successful competitive PvP game offers this feature. It is a matchmaking system that pairs you with other players so you can play solo whenever you want. It gives you the ability to practice any time of the day and allows for newcomers who have zero experience to partake in the bronze hell elo climb all the way to silver, just to tank back down the next day. Jokes aside, it is a system that I've been advocating for quite some time now. Spend more time waiting than you even do playing, and that is a massive issue. Let me take you back to a time where it was actually a possibility and there was a lot of discussion surrounding it. March 10th, 2017, when lead PvP developer Brian Halinka sat down with the community manager Lore during a Legion Q&A. And I miss those so much, the Q&As that is. Now don't get me wrong, I appreciate the current Q&As we get today. Well, where are the Q&As today? Whatever, that's besides the point. I miss the ones with Halinka because they were PvP focused. In reality, there are a ton of features or systems that players dislike in WoW today. Warfronts as an example. The only difference between Warfronts and Ashran was that we knew who was partially responsible for Ashran, and because of that, Halinka received all the backlash publicly, but at least he tried, and I seriously appreciated that. Now during this PvP focused Q&A, Halinka talked about solo queue with an open mind. He was honest and transparent. During this Q&A, he stated that they were open to the idea, but it would take a lot of work to ensure the proper systems were in place for handling situations of toxicity and proper matchmaking. He then went on to say that he would not deny that if there was a solo queue system in place for World of Warcraft, more players would be participating in rated battlegrounds and arena than currently. This gave the assumption that perhaps we could see something like this in the future. What happened to this? What happened to this idea? What happened to Halinka or the communication from those working on PvP?
So to do solo queue for either of those two brackets, we're going to have a healer problem.
Right.
That could be solved, we think, by trying to incentivize people to play healers, giving them extra benefits, extra rewards. Certainly something we can address, but that is something we're going to have to identify and solve in that situation.
Indeed, DPS queues would be longer with a solo queue system when compared to healers, but you could easily incentivize healers in this separate bracket. Although there is incentivization in itself with getting faster queue times, like tanks or healers when joining pug dungeon groups. You could create a separate MMR for different specs so players could try out different builds without hurting their teammate. Now, although this isn't the focus of the video, I would like to add one last thing. I hear from a lot of other players that solo queue wouldn't work in WoW because of comp matchups. Well, why not just do it for RBGs at first? Perhaps a 6v6 or 7v7 format like they suggested they would do several years ago. And even when it comes to Arena, let's not all pretend that half of the community at the top end doesn't already queue snipe or dodge other teams based on matchups. You already have unfavorable matchups. You can queue with the current system as a group, and across from you in the arena could be another team that completely counters your comp. How is that any different than solo queue? One game you could get a comp that works extremely well, and another game it could be lackluster. This happens in almost every other game. You can get a good hand in Hearthstone one match and then a bad hand the next. You can have a good comp in League one match and then the next match not so much. And in regards to toxicity that comes from systems like this, that already exists in the game today. LFG is inherently toxic. You could be waiting for hours to get into a group just to have someone call you bad and leave after one game. And unlike League, which averaged from 25 to 40 minutes per game, an average arena match is only 3 to 5 minutes. I think the length of the match should be considered when discussing toxicity that exists in other games. Nevertheless, a system like this should be in the game with a proper reporting system that would punish other players for their negative behavior, not an automated system. Maybe not this expansion, but at least in the next one. And besides, I'm sure a lot of people would prefer playing with friends or teammates like they do in other games if they had the ability to do so. I know I do, but if I can't, does that mean I shouldn't play at all? But enough on that. What can we do today to solve the current problems with LFG? What is something that can be implemented in a future patch or mid-expansion similar to what they did with the auction house revamp in 8.3? Why should players have to do any of the work to find a group? And no, I don't mean actually doing the social aspect of things. I mean the dirty work, like going to check PvP to see if this Dema Warlock is actually 2K experience, or websites like ArenaMate or ZunaMate. Also, why should players be forced to sit in the LFG section for hours without being able to queue and do anything else fun in the game? Most of the time, you'll see posts of people that are alt-tabbed while they're waiting in LFG, probably watching Castlevania on Netflix because that show owns, and who doesn't like vampire chicks? When you create an LFG posting, you can't do anything else in the game outside of world quests. You can't do a BG or raid. You also can't look to see what other groups are being posted if your group is currently posted. Also, what if that person who would be interested in queuing with you isn't currently in LFG? What if they're in a raid, or the Maw, or in Torghast? What if that person isn't currently online, but would be more than happy to find someone who's looking to grow as a team? Well, let me introduce you to Tinder. I mean, the newly designed LFG system. So here's my pitch. You post your information in the LFG section, you list your relevant experience, the class you'd like to be paired with, or the classes you'd like to be paired with, perhaps a couple notes about yourself so the players could read a little bit about you, and what your current rating is. The game would then find matches for you throughout the day. Every day, as long as you have an active post going. Then throughout the day, it would let you know if you've matched with 10 to 15 people regardless of the content you're currently doing. Perhaps a notification on the side of your screen. And you could then choose to message them if you were interested in playing with them after reading a little bit about them. Now here's the catch. You could also have this system running while you're offline. That way when you go to sleep or log in the next day, it would let you know that you perhaps have matched with, let's say, 30 people. The game does all the work for you that you would have to do in the LFG section by yourself. This could also work with Mythic Plus and PvP. Every day you would log on and you would see that there's maybe 30 to maybe 50 players interested in pursuing the same type of content you want to do. But this way, you also keep the social aspect of the game, and you also get to choose who you want to play with. And most importantly, you don't have to spend all of your time looking and waiting. Essentially, your game time for the day has already been mapped out each time you log on. This system is already miles better than what we have today. Obviously, I'm no developer, but I think you can all see that what we currently have is just outdated and really is bleeding out the game and its endgame content. Now here's where I ask for your help. To the people on the World of PvP Reddit's page, I know I may make videos that not everyone shares the same point of view, but you guys have been a big help in the past. You pushed my vendor videos, and because of your help, we saw change. I owe you all so much. This also goes to those of you on the official WoW forums page. To my friends on Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube, your sharing of my videos is what caught the attention of the community on important topics. Not everyone will agree on everything, and I know that. But I think we can all agree that something needs to be done about the current LFG system. It's filled with boosters, advertisers, and players posing with fake achievements and experience. With your help pushing this video, maybe we can start the conversation to promote positive change. And in order for a video to grow on YouTube at my level, it needs to be shared externally. That's how the algorithm works. And YouTube is my way of speaking up for the community. It's currently the best outlet I have. I don't care about the views, I care about the impact. Now this could blow up in my face, but I'm willing to take that chance before my time in this game is done. I believe WoW can grow as a game and not be this cyclical pump and dump product. World of Warcraft is a great game when you can play it, but most of the time you're just doing chores because, well, that is really all you can do by yourself. But people want to do the good stuff, at least in modern WoW, is raiding, Mythic Plus, and PvP. And how you find most of your groups is through this LFG system. But unfortunately, and in my opinion, that system has failed many of you. And I think it is honestly time for change. I appreciate all of your time. Thank you so much for watching, and I appreciate those of you willing to support this video. Take care.
I'm looking for an arena partner, someone who will eat the conjured mana buns I offer. So let's